Hey everybody, welcome back to Mainstream Monday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with
John Ward.
John Ward, my trusty Ward. I love having you on here to do these things, especially because I don't know if I could watch this movie and talk about it just myself because this honestly is also we're gonna be talking about Saw 5, since we're on the Saw kick, and this is my least favorite of all the Saw movies I've seen.
Wow, this was until Saw 10, my second favorite.
Yeah, this is my least favorite. Just not I saw somebody write that this was the least interesting Saw that they've ever seen. That's exactly right. That's how
I'm
they put
I'm
my
I'm going to completely disagree with that because it's more like a murder mystery. It actually has a story. And
maybe for like because I've never seen all the rest of them, so I don't know how it stacks up. Maybe by the end this will rank higher later when I see everything all
come on,
together and it
a
all
pendulum at the beginning of the movie and a great twist at the end.
I did
That
like the
ending is
pendulum.
awesome.
I did like the get cutting the guy in half. I thought that was kind of cool. I didn't I didn't care for those people that were stuck in there and all that shit. If that had gone away, I might have liked the movie a little bit more. I could care less about Julie Benz and those people because they just really had nothing to me. Like they were just people that were stuck in those traps. That was it.
But
Um,
isn't that all of them though?
no, I always usually think there's a big good reason. Like I like what is it, the when the guy has to go through all those different tests and stuff, the different things. And they have to. He sees one guy or one girl, and then he goes and sees another guy, and he has to help them out. And it's all about like whatever. It reminds me of number two, where they were all stuck in that, in that trap with Amanda, and everything. And I remember I didn't like that. Like I thought I wanted to go back to whatever other stuff that people were doing. Like I don't know. That's not what I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like those. I didn't care for those
Yeah,
people.
I think it's one of the, at least up to this point, it was one of the least favorites for people because it was a murder mystery. I don't think I care for any of these people in any of these movies because they're all in there because they did something bad. I
Well,
mean,
what
nobody's
did
in
what
there
did
because
the
they did
person
something
who
good.
do the planning office, what does she do wrong? And she gets her head cut off like, or whatever, like chopped off in the
Well,
be
she goes pretty fast, but she did something bad because the whole idea is that that building burnt down because they wanted to put up another building. That's the whole thing is that they were getting rid of that place so they could, but they do it, a little backhandedly. They do it kind of the way that Rodney Dangerfield says you should do it in Back to School, where I don't know if you remember that, but he tells the business teacher that he's doing everything wrong. That you don't get permits. You give, money in a back alleyway to a mobster
well, because
and
he's
and
telling about real life, not what's like in the textbooks and stuff, right? And I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I'm gonna be watching it because just to give a plug to Hollywood Boulevard podcast, the one that Joe Turk and Alfred and I do, we're gonna be reviewing that for this month's Hollywood Boulevard podcast. That was Joe's choice. So I'm excited to rewatch it. It's been a long time. But like I said, yeah, that dude's been in the real world, right? So when he goes back to school, he's talking about the real world shit, the real
hence the
shit that you
title.
guys do. Yes, exactly. So,
And it has Oingo Boingo in it.
oh, actually, like playing like the in a
Yeah, like they're in
concert or
like a
something.
yeah, like at a fraternity. They're the band that's playing. So it's
So it's so weird to think like they would play in a fraternity band, Such a Danny Elfman and his crew.
yeah, I think he does a song for the movie, but he does the music for the film. Danny Elfman does the
Oh, so
score.
that's okay. Then they're like,
Yeah.
hey, if you're gonna do the score for the movie, might as well come
Yeah.
and
Get the rest of
get
your
Boingo Boingo plugged.
yeah.
Um, I love them. I really do. I need to re-listen to their music because I love the whole Elfman family, even Jenna. You know,
Ah.
you know. I say that because I just haven't seen her in anything since Dharma and Greg, so,
Well, you say that because she's a Scientologist.
Actually, did I even know that? Now I know that for real, and now I don't know. I like whatever. Tom Cruise is a Scientologist too, and I still support his shit. So whatever. Just don't
It's
ever
just the
try
way
to
that
talk me
you.
into it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just the way that you said it. I thought you were referring to her as a
Oh no, I
Scientologist.
didn't.
So
I was just saying I hadn't seen her since Dharma and Greg, so it's like, kind of a whatever. I did used to love her though. Like I used to love that show, Dharma and Greg. I thought she was great. Um,
never watched it. No idea.
yeah. No, it was this. I'm a sitcom guy. You don't seem to be like that into like 90s sitcoms and stuff like I was. But
I
anywho,
like some stuff.
yeah, I know. Seinfeld probably.
I watched Friends.
See, Paul has this theory that there are Friends people and there are Seinfeld people, and then there's nobody in between. I said that's bullshit. I like both, so there is in between. But he says there's those two people back then, and the Friends people never watched Seinfeld, and Seinfeld people never watched Friends, and I'm like, that's
No, I would watch it. But I watched it more on reruns.
right.
I watched Friends when it came out, and then
Seinfeld on reruns.
yeah, Seinfeld reruns. So
Well, it's on Netflix. And I watch it every now and then. So anyway,
yeah.
to go back to this, so yeah, I absolutely, I don't know if I like, like I said, the traps and stuff that they set up for those poor people, kind of, I guess, worked in my opinion, but like, why did they like, so the journalist guy, right, who knew everybody, or whatever, he like was, investigative journalist dude, for I forgot what, you know, newspaper, the Herald or whatever. He was talking to this group of people and he said, I know you, I know, because he was calling that one dude a tweaker, so he knew everybody, and everything. Like he knew exactly what was wrong with them and what maybe they did to get to deserve their. What did the investigative journalist do? Did he, because he was a trash reporter? Why was he in there?
Um, I don't know if I can answer that. I just I mean, he takes offense when the tweaker guy does insult the paper. So maybe it's a yeah, like a rag. I don't really know.
Yeah.
That maybe he's I can't say. I don't want to
Yeah.
say maybes. I don't like maybes. I just can't. I'm trying to think. I mean, somehow everyone is connected. So the
Because they
journalist
said
is in
that,
there
yeah,
because he's connected
to all of them.
to, yeah.
And to the building, right? Because the building was the connection that they all had something to do with that. Like you're right, like the girl, the planning thing, they have to go to her to get permits or whatever it was, right? Like they had to do all that stuff. And then each person had like a play in why this bad shit happened. It's kind of like the dude who, like I was saying earlier, who had to go through all those things because his son got ran over, and everything. And but see, that's the difference. Like I liked that. That I liked because you knew exactly what was wrong with everybody. What's his name? Jigsaw wasn't Jigsaw, Billy, basically, or whatever that guy was telling everybody, this is what you get, or telling him this is what she did. She was there and she didn't, that one chick didn't ran off, drove off without, you know, um what is it? That the one chick drove off and didn't report anything. The other uh the other God, I can't believe that's part three. That feels like so long ago. Like that felt like that was like a two or something, but that was part three that happened. And what is it? And then the next guy, oh yeah, that was the judge that, that let the guy off, easily, or whatever. So everybody had a purpose for that thing, and it was more explained. And I think that was my biggest problem with this one was I just still didn't get why it all like it felt like there needed to be more explanation, um for each person specifically. And I would have liked it if it were like part three, where one person had to deal with each person. Like maybe there was that fire and somebody's child died. Or not child, don't do child again. Somebody loved died and they were really depressed about it and everything. And that was your chance to get even and revenge for that, you know.
Um, well, people did die. The junkie burnt it down for like crack, and he
Right.
didn't realize that there were people in there. Um, so
Is
I
there
was
more of an
trying to
explanation in Wikipedia, maybe?
no, that's what I was just looking at.
Like, isn't that sad? Like, I sometimes there's like huge explanation of stuff on there, and I mean it's whoever writes it, right? You know, and adds to it, I guess. But um, uh, yeah. So in an underground sewer, Ashley, Britt, Charles, Luba, and Malik awaken with collars locked around their necks. That was cool, though. I like that. Like, I like that they each had to like start going like to grab the keys to get the keys and everything. And the one person grabbed his the I guess the investigative journalist grabbed the shirt and did that, So each person had to do that, and then each time they went there, people were strangled, right? While the other people were trying to. So once you pull forward, other people get strangled back. And I thought that was a pretty neat little, you know, device. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Okay, so the girl who got her head cut off, Ashley. It says so. Ashley was a young woman and a fire inspector. At one point in her career, she investigated a fire in an apartment building that had claimed the lives of 8 people. During her investigation, Ashley found out that the house had been deliberately set on fire. However, she was bribed and therefore faked the fire report and labeled the fire as a tragic accident.
is this explained in the movie? I don't remember that.
No, I don't think so. She might have said maybe fire inspector, but no. It just says reason tested, faked an accident report to cover up a case of arson in which 8 people were killed.
I mean, that had to be explained in another movie or something. Like, how else would anybody know all of this information?
Well, so there's even more. So it says soon after Strom and Lindsay Perez, the Perez who got all the stuff in her face,
Mm.
2 special agents working on the case suspected her and almost discovered her lie. They planned to bring a charge against Ashley as well as the 4 other suspects. So Charles Solomon, a journalist, Luba Gibbs, a city planner, Britt Stevenson, a real estate developer, and Milek Scott, a drug addict. However, when the only witnesses suddenly disappeared, the investigation ceased. Now, it does say here saw 5, saw 6.
So I'm thinking that's the problem. Is like you told me like, that each one sort of evolves and they kind of explain things that the other one didn't explain. But like there's a big problem when you're watching this and you've got a year, right? For us, it's like a week or two, right, before we're gonna watch the next one, you know? So like, we only have like a couple weeks before we have to watch the next one. Right? Like it's almost like binging this stuff. But like for somebody has to wait a year to hear this stuff, they're gonna be very confused. And I mean, honestly, they're not gonna like it, you know? And then maybe they'll watch the next one. What if they don't watch the next one? And they never find out all the information that happened. I mean, I don't like not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
That really just annoys me.
I'll stop because it continues with abduction, and maybe that is going to be part of six.
Right.
So I won't continue with it. I just wanted to get why each person was there. So she faked an accident report. Um, are there other? I wonder if can I just look for Saw 5? Um,
Mm.
because I don't think that they would just randomly put people in there and not have a reason why. And I mean the writers.
Right. No,
Um,
I mean, I get it. Like, I think what you're saying, what they're writing and everything is true of what happened. My big problem is I think they're going to explain all that stuff in part six and not they didn't explain it enough in part five. And it was probably because that was planned. That was planned for them to, evolve and then you kind of start learning more things about you know, about the movies each go. You know what I mean? Like in this movie, we follow Jigsaw as he's working with Hoffman, you know, and stuff like teaming up and shit, and everything. And I thought, man, okay, so explains, the ending to part four, of him walking out, kind of like Jigsaw did, you know, in in part one, where remember we had that discussion where it looked like it was almost that scene where he's going in slow motion and you can kind of see him, like all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? You know? So it explains like that they've been working together, you know, those two or
did
whatever.
um did you see at one point when people were leaving the elevator, it was the two writers?
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, where the woman goes up to Hoffman goes to he's like by the elevator and the woman for some
With
reason
the
is fucking
dog.
no after the dog. Well,
Okay.
that woman was a total bitch too. I mean,
Right.
fuck you, and as much as I love animals, fuck you and your dog. I mean,
Well, I
but
mean, that dog was like ferocious. It was like a German Shepherd. Those things are like, danger. Those things can be dangerous dogs, or whatever, good guard dogs and shit. But like, I don't blame Hoffman for like wanting to have the gun out. And then what was the name of the dog? It was like a funny, like she called him something funny that he was like, you know, I forgot what.
oh yeah, Fluffy or so yeah, a
Yeah,
cute
something,
name for the
some
dog.
cute name for like this ferocious sounding dog.
Yeah, but it's he walks away from that woman and stands in front of an elevator and the door's open and this other woman's like, bitching at him too. She's like, "Excuse me."
Jesus,
And
that's the
he's, he's
nastiest apartment complex I've ever been
yeah.
in.
And then there's like four or five people that leave and two of those were the writers.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
Um
didn't, but that's cool. That's cool to know. Remember, once again, we love those guys. By the way, if you guys ever want to know, Feast 1, 2, 3 are on Tubi. So if you want to watch all the Feast movies, I would highly recommend the first one. I have not seen the second or third one. I want to do
Oh, really?
I
Wow.
want to watch
Okay.
them. Maybe
Wow.
we'll review those later because I only so I bought like the first one on DVD, but never bought like I think there is a triple pack where you can get all
Mhm.
three on DVD.
That's what I have. Yeah.
And yeah, I never bought that. I bought only the one, and I want to get because the second one I think is called like Sloppy Seconds, and then I forgot what the third one's like, All You Can Eat or something, something cheesy. It's sounding so
Yeah, they're kind of sexual. Yeah, it's but yeah, I mean I enjoyed all of them. The first one is the best. So okay, so I found what we're looking for here. Okay. So Julie Benz, she's Brit.
right.
So it says here, and I'm not going to read through her whole thing because it's nice. There's actually just this reason tested. Very simple. It's like one sentence. Orchestrated a plan to burn down an inhabited building. So that's why she's there.
Mhm.
Then
And she's the one who
Brit.
wins at the end, right? You know,
Yeah.
basically lives at
Oh,
the end.
this has Megan Good, who I absolutely love. I love Megan Good so much. She is so
She
hot.
she is hot and she's sweet in most movies. Like I really like her. Like I just Good is a great name for her last name for her. So I
Yeah.
adore Megan. Uh and I wanted her to live because I didn't even recognize that was Julie Benz as Brit. I was like, and I love Julie Benz. She's in Buffy and a bunch of other stuff. Dexter, a bunch of different stuff. And so I adore her, but oh man, Megan, I wanted her to live. You know?
Yeah, she gets it right in the neck. I
Yeah,
mean, that's a stabbed in the neck. So reason for tested, granted building permits in exchange for bribes.
that was Luba, right? That was her name.
Yeah. Then let's see, Luba. Okay, then Dan Erickson. He's
He's the investigative journalist
oh,
guy.
he's the yeah, no. He's the cop who took on the investigation, who's brand new.
Okay.
Okay, so he's the FBI guy. Okay, so skip him. Charles. So let's see, who's he? Charles is yeah, he's the journalist. Um, Cause
Okay.
of death. Okay, so it's okay, blown reason for tested. Held back his knowledge about a case of arson in which 8 people were killed.
Okay.
So he wrote about it, but then held back.
Okay. So you
Um,
wrote about it, but then didn't tell the whole story. Okay.
yeah.
I
And
get it.
then there's Malik, who I think is the druggie.
Yeah, Malik was the druggie.
Yeah, he's the druggie. Reason for tested, burned down an apartment building in exchange for heroin, killed 8 people. So also arson and drug addiction are added to that.
I mean, I guess Jigsaw doesn't like druggies, but like because of what happened with his wife, but like in the same sense, like the druggy thing shouldn't be that's a personal choice. If you do something because of your drug addiction, like he did, like he because of heroin, wanting to get money for heroin, he burned down a building to get the money for it. That's definitely like the drug thing just goes with that, I guess.
But what about Amanda?
What was she a druggie?
Yeah, that's why she was tested.
Oh, well, but then I don't know why she became like his apprentice, you know? I guess he just saw something in her.
Well, remember stuff in part 5 talks about part 2. Part 2 talks about 6. So we still got part 6 coming up.
Yep.
Then the guy at the very beginning, that's Seth Baxter. He murdered Hoffman's sister. See, and this is what I was talking about is that the traps then start to get they start to use them for revenge,
Hmm.
right? It's no more like, oh, you're smoking, you could get cancer. Let's put you in a trap to make you stop smoking. No,
Right.
now it's, oh, you killed my sister in this abusive relationship, even when you technically win the game, because he did. He put his hands in. He did exactly, and he even says, I had the subtitles on. He even says, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And
Hmm.
that's when that final pendulum went down and cut him
Oh
in
no, yeah,
half.
when I saw that, I was like, what? Why? He just why is he stuck? Like, why can't he get loose? And then when the final pendulum comes out and his neck piece comes out, that was what was supposed to happen, right? Like he was supposed to his neck piece was supposed to come out and he was supposed to be able to like just, roll off and get out of there before the pendulum
Right.
came completely down. But
But that was,
unfortunately,
yeah, it was never going to happen
it
because,
was
Hoffman was going to kill him no matter what, but make it look like a jigsaw murder.
right, which I think was part of why he got investigated. The whole thing got investigated and how he got caught was because it didn't look like a Jigsaw thing, or whatever, right? Like it didn't look like Jigsaw's kind of story. Plus, Jigsaw hates that shit. Jigsaw does not he even said like he doesn't want people to not be able to win. He wants them to be able to get out and get free because that's part of the game, you know? If it's an unwinnable game, then what's the point, you know?
Right. Wow, this is really cool. This is the Saw wiki page. And so like it's saying here, the character of Paul, the guy from the first Saw movie that was all like wrapped up in the barbed wire.
Hmm.
And I liked how we saw his origin in this one. Um, but it says here, reason for tested, attempted suicide. But it also says he serves as a main character in Saw 4,
Wait,
and Saw 5.
why would you be tested for attempted suicide? Why is that
Be-
something that deserves to be?
because he doesn't appreciate life, kind of like Amanda with doing drugs.
But in the sense, okay, I mean, this is what I don't get about Jigsaw. Like, why does he care about people's personal things, you know? Like,
Well, I would, let me go back to the getting the camera up here because I'm actually digging this wiki thing here. Because it tells you what movies each the character is, and I had no idea that character was in part 4. I don't remember him being in part 4.
the barbed wire guy?
Yeah,
I don't
unless
remember.
unless they just did flashbacks, to him. Like a cop was talking about him, and they do those quick flashes to him in the barbed wire. But
Yeah, it says on IMDb he was in four.
yeah, so maybe that's it. But I don't remember him actually being like we got some sort of history with him. But I do agree with you. Are some things selfish acts like suicide? Um, I suffer from depression. I am borderline manic and have taken antidepressants.
Hmm.
And for me, I have contemplated it many times, which is
Better watch
honestly,
out. You better watch out. If you attempt it, chicks will get you.
well, and that might be true. No, Boris, stay. You could stay right there. I'm just pulling the chair. I just want to pet you. There we go. Because I didn't get to pet him when I got home. Um, but that's the reason why I have cats. I
Hmm.
love cats. I love animals, but I know that if I have to take care of something, I won't do anything stupid. But I don't think that suicide is necessarily 100% selfish. I think that it is somebody who cannot that they just don't want to deal with shit anymore. It's
Right.
just so to I agree with you to a degree. Why should, and drugs are included on that too, like with Amanda. If she wants to do heroin, but there is more coming up, if she wants to do heroin, that's her right
Yeah.
to do that. And if this guy, for whatever reasons it is, that he wants to take his life like he was going to in his car, he should be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, why are
I,
you going to basically torture somebody who already wants to die? You know? Like, I don't like, I feel like him attempting suicide and maybe like letting him do that, that's the ultimate, torture because then now they're dead, or if they attempted it and they're still alive, that's even more torture because now they have to live they have to continue living even though they don't want to, you know?
Well, yeah, because there's no way that he was going to make it through that barbed wire.
No.
There wasn't. There just isn't. And it's so yeah, I mean, two as Jigsaw says that he's never killed anybody, or John Kramer says that he hasn't killed anybody. I mean, it's there. There is the woman, if you remember from a couple years ago, who went to prison because she told the guy that she broke up with to off himself.
Mm-hmm.
And this was over the phone. And he did it. And the judge, and she's like, look, I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't do anything. I didn't take his life. And the judge, like, no, you kind of did. you know, he was already in a bad state.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically kind of manipulated the situation and got him to do it. So
Like if you
wouldn't
convince
Jigsaw be the same
somebody,
way?
if you convince somebody to kill themselves, right? You know, you say, even if you say, hey, you should go kill yourself, which you hear sometimes people say on even Facebook, they get, hopefully they get in trouble for saying that because that should be flagged from AI, go kill yourself, but people say it all the time. This is a little different, this is whatever, but like I was on Instagram and somebody said something negative on a video of this girl that I follow, right? And I said, why don't you just block her, right? And he wrote back to me going, why don't you go kill yourself, right? And I go, okay, you know what my response was? Okay, but only because you said it nicely.
Uh,
And I got people laughing at me, saying laugh my ass off, whatever, right? But it's that kind of thing where you can go and say go kill yourself because I'm telling you just go block somebody if you don't like them. Just doesn't make any sense. I don't care if somebody says that because like unless they're literally like right next to me and about to try to kill me themselves, then I have no fear of them, and their words, their mighty words that they say, you know,
bad words.
terrible
Yeah.
words, negative words.
But
But like,
I mean, I do agree with you because
but if he said go kill yourself and then I went and killed myself, could he be charged with
I, I, I think just with those words, I would say no. But I think with what this girl did, because she was on the phone with him for a long time, manipulating the situation, calling him a loser and that he'll never be anything, and just really making him feel like crap, then I think you're pushing somebody who's already in a fragile state.
right?
If somebody said to you, "Yeah, go kill yourself," and then you went to do it, I'd be like, "Dude, are you fucking that pathetic? Are you
Yeah, that
really that
sounds really,
sad
yeah.
that just because somebody said that?" I mean, it's look at how many YouTubers out there are told to do that all the time because they didn't like a movie.
How many times now? Yeah, how many times has Taylor Swift probably been told that or whatever, and she just goes and writes
Yeah,
another
well,
song about it.
yeah,
you know and that's wonderful. Like I appreciate that, I appreciate you turning, that's what this other girl that I was watching, she gets all this negative shit all the time and she just makes other TikToks making fun of it and shit. I kind of like that, but also like I'm not there to be like some warrior for her. I'm just there just to say, dude, you don't like somebody, block them. It doesn't make any sense to go and troll on their page and tell them every single video that you hate what they're doing. Stop doing this. You know what
well,
I
you
mean?
you did what you should have done, which was that you went back with him with a sense of humor.
Right.
So that's the best way of doing it instead of saying, "How dare you?" I'm going to contact Facebook and and I'm going to try to get you fired from your job. You
I
know,
don't
that
give a fuck.
just
I
because
don't like
somebody's an idiot.
literally if I had
So,
wanted to, I would block him, or whatever. But like it didn't get to a point where I even felt like I needed to. But there are people on the internet that are just mean and they're just negative. But that doesn't, you're right, that doesn't, them just saying go kill yourself doesn't give them, they would not go to jail for that. But if they were to go up to you or call you or push you to the point where you do it because you're already in a really fucked up state of mind and that you're already planning to do it, but you needed probably somebody to try to talk you off the ledge, right? You
well,
know,
and this girl recorded it. So they have it, recorded with what she did. And that's when the
wow.
judge is like, no, you manipulated the situation.
Yeah.
He did it, because of you. And
But once,
so it's hard to I don't know, to go back to Saw 5 and Jigsaw, it's I I don't maybe I just didn't think about it that much, but I yeah, maybe just Jigsaw is just a narcissist, and he's just, why do you have to? Granted, he has cancer, and he's been in the car accident with like the rebarb through him, and all that. So you should appreciate life if you survive through that. But
right,
I guess like any accident, I mean, if you surf and your foot gets eaten by a shark, you should, appreciate life more. But maybe that surfer shouldn't be applying that to other people.
right.
So just because something happens to John Kramer doesn't mean that he should be applying
Forcing,
that.
yeah, forcing other people to enjoy their life, like, I mean, uh, okay, so I get, so the problem I have, like you say, like John Kramer talks about how he's never killed anyone, right? All his traps were meant for people to actually get set free. All they have to do is do just play the game and do what basically what they have to do. Um, John, uh, in the second movie, Amanda was there. Was she the one setting up all the traps? Because all those people died, you know, like except for her, right? All the people that were in those little
Yeah,
traps and everything.
I think it's in part 4 where he says, I need to have you like retested, and you're going to be like a big part of this. So we see her like behind that sofa. They find that weapon. I think
Hmm.
like the main bad guy finds like a like a hammer or something. He finds some, like a mallet,
Right.
and I think we see her put that there.
Yeah. But
So yeah, so she was. I don't think certain things in that she expected. I don't think that she's expecting the guy to throw her into a pit of needles.
yeah, especially, I mean,
So
did those actually have heroin in them? I'm guessing not.
no, I
Just
think that
needles.
they were just dirty needles, just like
Yeah.
probably heroin used needles or just needles.
Yeah.
But God, can you imagine the PA who had to do that? Had to fill that whole thing full of like 1,000 freaking needles.
Yeah, that probably took a while.
They're all made out of rubber, so that
I
was
have a
part of
feeling
the.
I feel like they put them all in a dump truck and then just put the dump truck down and yeah, just like threw them in there. I don't know. Because I would not want to like be like, okay, needle one, needle two,
Yeah, they
needle
probably
three.
they went out and well the PA I guess had to go. Well, I guess that I mean it's a studio, so they could just order 1,000 rubber needles from whatever effect shop or prop shop that they would get them from. So
I'm so glad when I worked on Collision Earth on the Asylum, they didn't have like that much for PAs to have to do. Like, like so we're gonna Eric Roberts is gonna come in here and there's gonna be like 20,000 needles that, so we need those needles over there and put into like oh, okay. Jesus Christ.
it's your job, Jonathan, to go find 20,000 rubber needles.
You gotta go to every heroin on Hollywood Boulevard and, collect them from them. I don't know. But anyway, see, so yeah, so it's not his, he shouldn't be telling people because he's being selfish by telling people they should enjoy life, right? Like they have the right, like you have the right to enjoy your life or not enjoy your life. If you don't want to enjoy your life, you want to complain, be a movie critic. Oh, wait, you already are. So, I
Oh,
don't know. You know what I mean? But like, if you want to, see what I'm saying? Like, if you want to enjoy your life, you enjoy your life. If you don't want to enjoy your life, don't enjoy your life. That's your choice, you
well, and
know?
and I agree with that. I am overweight. So would that put me, if I go out and buy a pizza from 7-Eleven and I'm walking it from my car to my apartment, should then a person dressed up in a cloak and a pig mask kidnap me and put me in some sort of trap that is somehow related to me being overweight? And if I can make it out of the trap in 3 minutes, I'll then go on a diet. Maybe I'll go to Weight Watchers and
Three
lose all
minutes or
this
less,
weight. Yeah, and
just like pizza.
so, but it's, I mean, I agree with you on that. I
Yeah.
actually really do. I think there is a degree of, like, I am overweight, I am obese by medical standards, but compared to one of those people on those shows, like my 500-ton sister or whatever those shows are, where the people literally needed to be craned out of a house
Like the chick
because they're
from
so fat.
what's eating Gilbert Grape, the lady,
Which
like
is what happened to her. She had to use, like, they had to crane her out.
yeah. That's what made me think about it. Um but
That
like
then I think maybe that's something else.
but here's the thing. With him doing this stuff and saying you have to enjoy your life and everything does still make him like an ultimate villain then. Because, a normal, like if he's not like a vigilante who's trying to make people enjoy their life more, like this is a dude who's trying to make your life even worse, because now you're stuck doing these stupid games and shit and playing them and everything.
Well,
So,
he's a massive hypocrite. I mean, it's like in this one, he tells Hoffman to go get the doctor. So basically the doctor for the first movie.
right?
And because he has the pin that he plants, and you see Danny Glover, you get the flashback with Danny Glover holding the pin in the bag. And well, isn't that revenge? Didn't he get revenge on the doctor? It wasn't that he put the doctor in the bathroom to become a better doctor. He put him there for revenge.
Mm, yep.
And
Or
so
or how
maybe
did he he with the first guy that like attacked, the junkie that attacked his wife and or whatever, like, made his wife have that
she had the
miscarriage
miscarriage. Yeah.
miscarriage and stuff. That junkie he got revenge on the junkie too, and stuff, didn't he? Like I think there was in part 3 or
Yeah,
something.
he was supposed to put his face through all those blades and then the chair breaks.
Yeah.
And then he jumps at John and
But
misses and falls into like a small version of the barbed wire
yeah, so he does
trap.
fall in there. But like what I'm saying is like that guy, that junkie was supposed to be the first revenge, and I don't think he was supposed to live through that. That stuff wasn't supposed to happen.
No, no, I think the chair was an accident and that it broke, and he just happened to have the wire there, but he wasn't going to stop him from not going into it. He moved
Mm-hmm.
out of the way. He took a step back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there's the that's why it's hard for me to say some stuff because there is stuff coming up.
Right.
So it's really only 6 and 7 that we continue this, and then stuff like I don't think Jigsaw, and I definitely know Spiral.
Because
Maybe Jigsaw
I mean,
does.
Spiral's its own thing, right? They mention Jigsaw, but it has nothing to do with Jigsaw, right? Like it's not
It's
about him.
No, no, they mentioned Jigsaw and oh, these are Jigsaw traps, how
Yeah.
could Jigsaw be back? But it's I don't think you get any flashbacks of John Kramer in that.
Yeah, I because I it wasn't made like the Saw movies, right? Like it wasn't supposed to be like
No, I
the
think it
Saw
was
movies.
supposed to be like a requel type of thing where it was supposed to start a whole new thing. And then Chris Rock, I think it was going to take over, but I don't think it did as well as they thought it would.
Did you
So
know who the director was for this one?
I saw that it was a different name.
Right.
Um, but no, I didn't recognize it.
He was like the production designer for the Saw movies, I believe. So we've talked about this before, like especially with James Wan likes to use like the editors or the people who've worked I think even to go back to like Dracula, was like Patrick Lussier, who did the editing for a lot of Miramax Dimension movies. All of a sudden he was directing, those things because if you work enough with people, they'll start putting you in there. But he was the David Hackle, I guess was his name. He was the production
Yeah.
designer for the Saw movies, and then he became the director for this one. The next one, Saw 6, has the editor of the Saw movies as a director. So I think
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
it's interesting the director for part 5 yeah, because he like worked on Repo, the generic opera, and but he also did that in the maze, in the Grizzly Maze, which
Into
I've
the
heard
Grizzly
about,
Maze. I've never heard of
and
it, but
then he did Life on the Line with John Travolta, which looks like it's somebody that works um
high
on
wire work of like electrical grids.
something like that. Yeah, he's working on something there that looks like it's with electricity, and then Daughter of the Wolf with
Oh, and he
Gina
put Julie
Carano.
Benz in that one too. So that's funny of that Life on the Line. He put Julie Benz in that one too. So I wonder if he has like a friendship with her after working on this movie, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm wondering if he's conservative
why do
because
you say
Life on the
that?
Line Life on the Line seems to be a little like Peter Berg or something like that, where it's more, or could be even like Michael Bay, where it's more the blue collar workers.
Yeah.
And then Daughter of the Wolf, of course, has Gina Carano,
Oh.
and Richard Dreyfuss is not exactly the most liberal guy out there. And then
I don't
Dangerous.
know what he is because he's not liberal, but I don't think he's conservative. I think
No,
he's
I
maybe
think he's
independent.
just old school. If he wants to say the F word, he's gonna say it. If it's two guys holding hands,
What did he say? Because he said something.
it was at a
Um,
Jaws screening, and he
right,
was talking, and he was saying something like, "You don't make like movies like this aren't made anymore," and like he was referring to like Robert Shaw and stuff, and it was about men being men and real men, and you don't have real men anymore, and that like offended some people, and according to the people who were offended, 1,000 people left the theater, even though the theater only held like 300 people, but really only like 5 people left.
right.
Yeah, and
But they
and
want to
and
make it bigger and sound bigger because, to make a point. But the truth
yeah.
is, like, yeah, Richard Dreyfuss is old school, like there are a lot of people who are who like it's sort of funny. One of my friends was pointing out that like my town of Williamsburg, is a southern, we're southern, So the old people, that live in like King's Mill, which is like the fancy mancy, a lot of them are conservative, the old people because that's just, that's the old South. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to change their ways and be, more like-minded to that stuff. And so, I mean, I see it a lot. I don't care, you know? Like if you're conservative, if you're liberal, whatever, or whatever, I don't give a fuck. Just just be nice to me, And
Well, you just can't give your opinion anymore. I just find this guy, just this director, interesting because he did a film called Outlander with Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus, of course.
Right.
And
Isn't he
then
conservative? Because like I
he's all
heard
yeah,
that.
he's also QAnon. And
Oh,
then that Dangerous, which was 2021, Scott Eastwood, and of course Clint Eastwood is very Republican and NRA and all that stuff, also stars Mel Gibson. Um, so yeah, so I'm wondering if this if he's a
well, if he is, if he is, if
little
he
bit on the
isn't,
right. So
I wonder, has he been working since like recently? Because like that
this last thing was 2021.
as a director.
Yeah.
So yeah, see, that's the thing. It sort of switched in 2020. I feel like because I feel like before 2020, even 2016, and up to t that time, there was this sort of like nobody, people didn't bother people about their political beliefs. And now all of a sudden, like people are getting fired or not hired because of their political beliefs and shit like that. And I just feel like that's just bullshit, Just, I mean, this is why I don't talk politics and I don't like it. But people just need to just, not because they're either like one side or the other, you know? And they're like, fuck this side or fuck that side. And I'm like, just
Well, I'll disagree with a little bit of that because I'm centric, so I'm not conservative and I'm not Democrat anymore.
are
I'm a
you
centralist.
independent, I guess, or
No. I think that both sides have good points, and I think both sides have bad points. And I won't be voting in this next election because I don't agree with either person. So this will be the first election I've not voted in since I was 18.
oh man,
And
don't tell people publicly that because they'll be like, you're the
don't
problem
care.
then, you know.
Don't care. I don't care. Get
I
better
get it.
people out there.
Yeah.
Get better people out there. Somebody will want to vote for. I don't believe I'm scared of Project 2025 with Trump, and I don't like the stuff that Kamala Harris has to say. I don't agree with her left wing ideologies and stuff. So
Far left, whatever.
very far left.
No.
So so I won't be. So it's interesting because I have friends on both sides, and guess what side is nicer to me? The conservative side.
Yeah, I figured,
Yeah.
because I you could go into a whole thing on that. It's because like, one side wants to make sure that the other side fails, and you know what I mean? And it is what it is. I don't care. Like, I want I love Hollywood. Hollywood's very liberal, you know. And if you're conservative now, which I'm not anything. I'm I don't even like I don't know if I'm a centralist like you. I might I don't know. I don't know yet. Like I haven't really figured that out, but I'm really not liking, you know, a lot of one side or the other necessarily.
Well,
Um,
wait until you see Saw 6 because it's all political.
oh,
It's all
for
about
real.
the healthcare system, which is why I
Mm.
like it, which is why it's my favorite, is because it is political. It is about the healthcare system.
It is a
Um,
specific side. Like, you know how we watched The Hunt and you were confused as to what side because they seem to be on both sides, or whatever.
I still think that they should have taken a side with that, but I yeah, I mean I changed my mind on that a little bit.
Well,
This
I
is
changed your opinion on that, which I was surprised about because I brought up some stuff that
you
you.
did, but I still I don't know. I still think that if you're I don't know how I could say that. If you're gonna make a biopic about Trump, should you like Trump or should you not like Trump?
Well, they do one like with Sebastian? Was it Sebastian Stan that did something with Trump? Somebody
There's
did.
one called The Apprentice that Trump is trying to buy and destroy.
Why does it say anything that's actually? like
Probably
could
a
get
lot of
him
it's
some.
true.
Yeah, no, so it is the one with Sebastian Stan. So Sebastian Stan, the guy who played Bucky in the Captain America movies, and he was really great in the movie Fresh. If you get a chance to watch that movie's really fucking good. It's from Hulu, or Hulu has it. But yeah, he's it's supposed to come out October 11th, so it's coming out soon. Is it this Apprentice movie? Is it I wonder if Regal's got it already, because I might actually want to go see you know, what's going on
I
with
mean,
it, you
it's
know?
it's behind the scenes on the show The Apprentice.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess probably leading up to it and after. But I mean, I guess if you know what side do you take? I mean, let's say you wanted to write an article about John Kramer. Do you agree with his actions? Do you think it's a good way to get somebody to stop doing heroin if you put a bear trap on their head and have to have them dig for a key in somebody's guts to
Right,
stop them from being on heroin? Because look what happened to Amanda. He kept testing her over and over and over again, and it ended up with her shooting the doctor,
mm,
and then she dies.
right,
So his methods don't necessarily work, but of course she was also, he said that he despises murderers and he thought of her as a murderer.
right.
So it should be interesting to see what Saw 11 is, since it's supposed to take place right after Saw 10, which would still be between 2 and 3.
I,
So,
and I think here's the thing, because you've seen all the way to 10. So when you're watching this, you know all that stuff. So when you're rewatching this stuff, you sort of, it seems like sometimes you're a little confused, like you didn't remember that guy Paul being in part 4, but he was apparently, the barbed wire guy, right?
but I'm thinking it was a flashback
Yeah, it's
because
probably a
we got
flashback.
his background in 5.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking, so you could say that almost anybody from 5 back is probably going to be in some sort of flashback, except for like part 1. But part 2 is going to have flashbacks to 1, and 3 will have flashbacks from 2 and 1.
what would it
4,
not one, because Adam and what's the other guy's name? The doctor, Dr. Leonard or whatever, Carrie Elwes his character. They, their story's done, right? Like we sort of see it, and I think in part 3 a little bit, like we see them setting up for that one, and
well,
everything. But like, so,
well,
I guess, I think I heard that Carrie Elwes comes back in part 7. So there's maybe some stuff. I don't know. Like,
well.
yeah, you can't tell me anything. That sucks.
But the one thing with rewatching these, and I've mentioned this before, is because we're reviewing them, is I watch them more with that eagle eye, and like really watching them. So I forgot a lot of these flashbacks. I forgot, like with
Man.
part 4, I forgot about all those flashbacks. I forgot about all those different stories that were going on. Completely forgot. I just thought it was the guy going through whose kid was killed. But no, this thing had like a ton of stuff in it. There
Hmm.
was a ton of story in part 4.
Yeah.
And so I kind
In
of
part
forgot about
5.
that stuff with part 5.
Yeah. So there's a
So,
lot of stuff in part both of them. Like,
but they don't, and I do agree with you that they don't. I don't think they do as good of a job with 5 explaining. I mean, obviously it's on the recordings, I'm assuming. When Billy says, you're here because of, the building you
well,
burnt down. But
actually, they don't say that. He doesn't really say that, because he just tells them, because the whole time they're going, "Why are you here? What's going on with, what did you do? What did, right?
yeah, they
All the
just
way
know
up
that
to
they're
the end."
connected somehow.
Right. And they're
I mean,
trying to
yeah.
figure out the connection, but he never once,
So
I don't think, explains why they're connected. And that kind of pissed me off is like, even at least toward the end when they have like three people or whatever say, okay, you three are, moving on, and this is why, this is, what I mean? Like, it's just, I get like not explaining stuff is fine sometimes because you kind of want to keep, people wondering, but not explaining can sometimes just be a thing where I'm like checked out because I'm like, why do I care what's happening to these people?
Well,
Like,
most of the time, because the people aren't connected. They're just in
right.
a room. You know what? This one guy's a drug dealer, so he's there because he kills people with drugs. This other person hit a kid with his car and drove off.
No, but
You
but but
know,
but even to go back to part two, which I think is what you're referring to, they were connected because remember that guy that they were connected to the father, which was the
oh,
Donnie
they were
Donnie
connected to the
Wahlberg,
cop. Yeah,
right?
yeah, they were all
And
connected to the
so they
cops,
were
so they were,
connected.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that's the thing. They all were connected and that got explained and that was like a twist and that was very cool and I was like, "Oh my God, I love that." Then you get to this one and there is no real twist and literally I don't I don't care because I don't know about the burning building really or enough about the burning building. I don't care that that happened because I never see it, you know? Like there's nothing.
Maybe I'll watch when we decide on doing part six. I'll rewatch five right before it
Okay.
and see if I could get anything else out of it because I still like it. It's still one of my favorite ones,
It's
but
my least favorite so far, but like that
I
does
am
not
agreeing
mean,
with you.
but that does not mean my brain won't change later, when I start watching all of them together and things start kind of clicking and making sense.
You, as much as I love part six, and I've said it's my favorite one, I'm probably forgetting stuff. If they're saying characters from this are in six, I'm not remembering them.
I
But
don't
of
think
course, I
there
saw
are.
six like a couple years ago.
I don't think
Um,
there are because I looked on IMDb and none of them like Julie Benz is not back and that one girl with the
there'll probably
blonde
be
hair
flashbacks.
it didn't say that they were acting, I went to their
Well,
actual
no,
page.
I'm sorry, footage from the other movie flashbacks.
Right, but still they
So
would
in
still be on
parts,
IMDb saying that they were in the movie even if it's an archive.
no, true, yeah.
So I don't think that they were. I think
Well,
it's
and I don't think so. Was the ending of this that like we, like with Amanda, it's drugs or whatever it is, like is is this teamwork? Is that the whole thing? You guys needed to learn teamwork? Because if you had teamwork, then maybe the building wouldn't have burnt down. Because at the end, they say the girl says we all needed to do this. That's why there's all the holes where they cut their hands is because all they needed to do was and that was it.
mm-hmm,
If each person did it, so and she comments on like the little tunnel type thing that they're in, that those would have fit at least two people.
right.
So what I didn't get was there was no weird message, I guess, unless I missed it. Maybe I'll look for it again from Billy. Like like where before they would say you need to do the opposite, or
Mm,
maybe this was the opposite. So the opposite, instead of working against each other, would be working together.
I
So that
guess
means if they all worked together, they all would have survived. So he
maybe
would have let people go who burnt down a building and killed eight people.
you're. I don't know,
Or did he know that they would betray each other, even though they went through the effort to make
but
all that
is
stuff for like five
is
people?
this Jigsaw that's doing it or is this Hoffman? Because isn't Jigsaw dead by this time? You know, right?
So we do see at the very beginning with Strom, we do see him at the end of three because he's the one that shoots the guy who's trying to find his daughter.
Right.
And Hoffman is the one who actually leaves with her because then he's the hero. So
Hmm.
Jigsaw would be dead because we see him on the bed
Hmm.
and he's
And
dead.
remember, didn't they at like in part three, didn't they have to go, or was it three or four? It was four, where they had to go into his guts and grab that tape and everything. So he was dead. Like there was
Yeah,
no
he
way.
does. They do the autopsy and
Yeah, they do
they're
the
like,
autopsy
let's
and
see
they,
what's in his stomach.
yeah.
And then they find the tape with the wax on it.
My biggest
But
problem with this movie is like things are just because they're doing all that stuff where they're showing you flashbacks and they're showing us things in the future and the things in the present. It gets very confusing. I'm like, why is Strom going into shooting that one character? Why are we seeing that again in this movie when we've already seen that. That scene was from last, was from.
because we need to be reminded that it was Hoffman who closed the door.
And then didn't both of them die right at the end of the movie? Like because the thing is like closing on we didn't even talk about that, but the thing's
Oh, at the
close
end of part
yeah,
five where the walls are coming
yeah, the
in.
walls are closing in and they're gonna clamp shut on Hoffman, right? Like weren't they supposed to like murder him basically? And the whole time Strom is trying to get out or whatever, right? And like he like I think he loses like an arm or something, like trying to.
Oh, he's squashed. He's flat as a
So both
pancake.
of them are squashed.
I don't know. We'll have to find out at the beginning of part six.
And see, this is just what the thing's just like. Man, I just want
that
one Saw movie to just explain the whole fucking movie to me, so I'm not like, what the fuck
that's
is
why
going
somebody
on?
needs to re-edit every Saw movie in the order of that it should be in. So you have everything that does begin at the very beginning, at the beginning, not in part six. It should be in part one. So you
Uh,
have somebody who edits the entire series, and that way we can follow it. Because remember, I think it was part four where Jill and John are in his lab, I guess if you want to call it, or workshop, and there was that thing that looked like a phone booth that
mhm.
was on the ground. And I remember in our review, I said, remember that. That's
I
we're yeah,
forgot.
we're seeing it for a reason, and that's the box at the end of part five.
Yeah.
So they already knew they were going to do something with that box.
Um, I don't know. This movie just
It
it
gets I think people started because the box office does start trailing, but it's I think the more characters they introduce, the more flashbacks they give, because we're not done with seeing all the way back
right.
to John Kramer. We haven't even met his very first assistant.
I mean,
So that hasn't even happened yet. So it's I mean there's so much stuff that I think people
I,
started getting confused.
right. But like it's kind of cool that it sort of evolves and changes and becomes like something different. I still just like I'm still like I'm like the audience there. I don't like to be confused. I hate it. Like and what Tarantino has said, which I always love this quote from him. He said an audience is allowed to be confused if they feel like they're in good hands, right? You know? And I mean, Ken talk about his own work, I guess, because, he goes all over the place, with a lot of his movies. Things kind of jump, especially Pulp Fiction. It's three or four stories, put together, but they all kind of jumble around, right? But but I got it. Like I get that first scene in the movie comes back at the third act. And that becomes, and then those people are connected to this. Like I got all of that. It's very well explained. It doesn't confuse me at all when they jump around like that. This movie confuses the fuck out of me because I'm just like, why am I seeing this guy again? Like I've seen fucking I feel like I've seen Strom go in and deal with that guy. I do like that we actually see the daughter because I was wondering at the end of part four, I was like, they still haven't found that fucking daughter yet.
Well, and
And then
Hoffman would know where she is.
right, Hoffman knows where she is, and Hoffman gets her, and he thinks that Strom had died, but Strom had cut the neck and everything, and cut himself loose, got himself loose from the water that was coming and
Which
everything.
is, what type of test is that?
I
Like,
don't know.
I don't think that was a test. I think that that was just there to kill
I
him.
think that was that was Mark Hoffman trying to kill
That was
Strom.
Hoffman just trying to kill him. But
Right.
even Strom is, he's not a stupid guy, should probably have said that wasn't a test. That was just to kill me. I mean, and he does say we all were supposed to die in there. But
Mhm.
I would think even if he did drown, probably somebody would be like maybe that other the detective guy, would be like, this doesn't seem like a test. Like what
Yeah. This doesn't
it
seem like a
seems,
game. This seems like this is
yeah.
just murder, and
Well,
stuff.
and to go back to like the nonlinear stuff is these people are not Tarantino. You have in Pulp Fiction, I think that when John Travolta gets killed on the toilet, and then you see him at the end of the movie walking out of the restaurant with Samuel L. Jackson, that he hasn't been killed yet.
Yeah.
That will be coming later because Tarantino is a good writer, he's a good director, he's got a good editor, he knows exactly where to put these scenes. So the audience, even the most naive moviegoer, will understand, oh, wait, but he just died on the toilet. Why is he now eating in this diner? Because it hasn't happened yet.
Mm.
But in
Oh,
these
even
movies,
even a young guy when I first watched it, you know, I knew it because they were different stories, right? They were it what I liked about Pulp Fiction completely is the fact, and I might do that for Film Freaks at some point, pick that movie because I absolutely adore the movie because it's an anthology film, but it's not. It's like it's an anthology film, but not because like anthology films are just four separate stories that have no interconnection to each other except for maybe a wraparound, right? This movie, that movie, like has that. It has the one story mixed with this other story, mixed with this other story, and they're all connected, right? And like you said, it's very simple to understand. When he hasn't been when he has been killed, then when he comes back, that he it was because he hadn't been killed yet. And so I got that like real quickly. Like, okay, I wasn't like, hey, why is he back here? Didn't he die? Like
right.
it was earlier in the day. That's because they were dressed up like the idiots that they were when they when was it the wolf made them change into their clothes, shitty clothes or whatever. So I like things like that. I saw that and I got, I understood. So it's one of those things where you're right. If the director, writer knows what they're doing, and this movie, I don't think the writers and director are bad. I think what they just have too much of an evolving story, and they have this probably this Bible that tells them everything that's going to happen in the universe, in this Saul universe. And so they know like this gonna scene's gonna come in here and then this scene's gonna come there and everything. But it confuses the audience when the audience doesn't have that um map, you know? They don't know that that scene means that this scene is gonna happen later, So you're very confused as to like I said at the end of part four, I was like, why didn't they fucking find the daughter? What's going on with the daughter? Like I thought about that, right? I didn't mention on the last show, but like I thought about that. And then this movie, one of the first things that happens is, Hoffman brings out the daughter and stuff. He saved the little girl and everything to look good for himself.
I love that the little girl's like, "Where's my daddy? Where's my mommy? They're dead."
Yeah,
You know,
we all know
they're
that.
dead.
And then I think he
Sorry,
says,
little
just,
girl.
yeah, here, little girl, just we go with this EMT.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't even say anything like your mommy and that would have been so fucked up if Mark just looked down at them and was like, your parents are dead. Sorry, kid. Bye. Have a good
No, because
life.
what he should do is adopt her and then train her to be like the next Jigsaw, so that we could have like the
A
daughter of
female,
Jigsaw or
yeah,
something.
female Jigsaw. That'd be, well, we had sort of that with Amanda, but it'd be nice to have more female Jigsaws. So tell us a little bit about the how much money this movie made.
So this one went down from the last one.
Ooh,
So part okay, so part four, $10 million budget, and five, not much difference, 10.8 million.
10.8 million.
Yeah. But four saw four made
Wait. So that was part five. That was the budget was 10.8 million.
yeah.
How much did they make?
Well, part four, hold on a minute. Part four is 139.4 million. So
139.
139. Part five was 118.2. So
Hmm.
118. So
Well,
it didn't make as much, but it still did really good off of a $10 million budget.
yeah, I mean it made more than $100 million, profit.
So
So that's pretty damn good. But I guess I don't know who puts these out.
Lionsgate.
Lionsgate. So who distributes them? Lionsgate. So trying to think like I guess for Lionsgate that's pretty damn good because they usually I to look at his example like Dogma or something from Kevin Smith was on a small budget and it made like 20 million or whatever and stuff, and that was Lionsgate that put that out, even though what's his it was Dimension that Miramax that gave the money for it. um And that's why Dogma is very hard to actually find. It's out of print. Stupid Miramax and the Weinsteins. Yeah, $10 million budget for Dogma, and it made $31 million, but did not make 131 million, right? So say it made 131 million dollars, it would have made much more money than or it would have made more money than like Saul, you know.
I mean 118 and the other one's 139. So but it's all Saw cost so little to make that if it made $5 million, it would have been a hit because of its original budget. $10 million, it would have been a hit.
Oh yeah, the original budget of the first Saw. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The first Saw was like, yeah, 1,000,005. So if they made 10 million, $5 million, $10 million, and made a profit, it made more than double its budget. But the fact that these made so good, and here's the thing, and this is so I had a discussion on a Kevin Smith web board because I brought up that the 430 movie, the movie that Kevin Smith is making, is putting out or whatever. I was shocked to see that I can't like or I can't get tickets for it yet, or whatever. And but I can get tickets for Terrifier 3, which is also both of them are indie movies. They were made, independently. And this dude tried to tell me, I don't know if you saw that whole post, but like some dude tried to tell me that Terrifier 3 is not an indie movie, because he saw stuff in Hot Topic and Spencer's that have Terrifier merchandise and stuff, and that bloody disgusting puts out the merchandise rights for it, and everything. And I was like thinking, that doesn't make it a mainstream. That doesn't make it a Hollywood film. That still makes it an indie film because Damien Leone put his own money for it, right? Saw is a studio film. Lionsgate is a studio, is one of the big studios. So that's a studio film. The original Saw was not, even though it got distributed by it, it was funded independently. That's an independent film. All the rest after that became a studio film. Terrifier 3 was financed independently by Damien. So it is an independent film up to part 3, still. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, you could have an independent film and have product out there. I
Right.
mean,
And
it's
you can still have what a lot of people decided was that you can still have an independent film be mainstream. It's just not made by Hollywood. Still an indie movie,
well, I
you
mean, look
know.
at Halloween or Friday the 13th, the originals. I
The
mean, those were
originals,
independent and then they made a gazillion dollars and they started off in tiny theaters and then blew up.
because at the
So,
time New Line was not a big studio. They were a small little company that were financing things independently. Then when they blew up, Blumhouse, when they first distributed Paranormal Activity, that was an indie that was an indie project. That was self-financed, and done by the director and then produced, distributed by Blumhouse through, was it Warner Brothers or some company like that? Paramount, I think maybe.
Paramount, yeah.
Yeah, so Paramount distributed the first movie, but it wasn't the one who put up the money for the first one. The rest after that, I believe, was put up by the money through Paramount, you know?
Yeah, there were studio movies, even though there were still low budget in films.
Right. Clerks, the original Clerks was a independently made movie. You can't say that's a mainstream movie. The rest of the films, however, this Clerks series was funded by, a studio, you know? So, I mean, it's well, and I kind of disagree. Well, I kind of say about, what is it? Clerks 3 was, I think that was funded by Lionsgate, and whatnot. So that still probably counts as a studio film. I don't think Kevin put up his own money for that one. But see what I'm saying? Like, so I get into these discussions with these people when I see it, like a movie like this made for $10 million. It's still a studio putting up $10 million to make this movie, And then when it skyrockets, that really helps the studio, which I think more studios should do, but horror does really well for that. A horror film, if this was a $10 million rom-com, it wouldn't make $100 million, I don't think. You know, like it wouldn't have done as well, you know,
Uh-huh.
because what?
No, I said, uh-huh.
Yeah, because generally speaking, you need bigger stars for the rom-coms, and in horror films you can have smaller people and make them bigger stars, you know,
Right.
right? Bruce Campbell became a bigger star after doing Evil Dead and a bunch of the other movies that he did, but those helped skyrocket him ended up later on doing Burn Notice.
Sure, sure.
So
Yeah.
anyway, see what I'm saying? So like horror, is one of the only ones I feel like only genres I know of that can make a movie for $10 million and then make $100 million profit. And that's why, I think more, horror films should do that. Um, so
Well, there you go.
there you go. All right. Well, thank you, John. And so in 2 more weeks, we'll be reviewing Saw 6 and having that out this month and everything. Then we'll have Saw 7 and 8, in, was it, next month, and then, 9 and 10, at the, November. That's
Got it.
crazy. We'll be almost done with this in November.
Uh,
It feels like, 'cause, oh man, we had to get through. I mean, already we're up to 5. That's like half the series. So, but
It
it
is
does,
half the series because they're only up to 10 right now.
yeah. Um, and next year we'll definitely do part, 11. But I don't know. Are we gonna keep going with James Wan, or are we gonna go with something else? You know, I don't know how much more James Wan stuff we can
Well, I
do.
mean, unless you want to, kind of follow the writers and then do Feast and then Collector.
I do kind of want to do Feast. Remember, I was talking about that, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll do that. The Feast and the Collector movies, which I've never. I think I watched the first Collector movie and couldn't get into it.
And they are making the Collected. So they are part three is finally happening.
And that's going to be next year, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So there you go. So perfect timing for that. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much, John, because this was awesome. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed
Yeah. Thank you.
this year.
I
So
I
far.
like rewatching this stuff.
Yeah, I know you're into Saw. I'm really not. Like, this is probably one of my least favorite franchises, you
Oh, it's
know?
my second favorite one.
I know. Like,
Chucky
I think
being first, but
we're so different on that. Like I think my first favorite is Friday the 13th. So we haven't even done those yet. That's got 11 of them, I guess. No, 12 if you count Freddy versus Jason. So one day maybe we'll do all of those, you know?
that's a lot.
Well, yeah. Oh, and they're gone off of I guess the Paramount Plus. I think they were on that. It's either that or HBO. But apparently the rights went up just recently for parts 1 through 8. So who knows where they're gonna go next? It might be Peacock, might be Tubi.
Yeah, you never. Oh,
Tubi's
yeah.
Tubi's getting stuff, man. Like I'm very shocked. Whenever I go on the Tubi app and they show me like a lot of recommended, they show me some of the more mainstream stuff that they have, and I'm like, damn, that movie's on Tubi, you know? And then it's
Yeah, they
gone
got
the
some big
next month.
stuff on there.
It's gone the next month. And I'm like, fuck, I should have watched it, you know? But unless I'm doing a review, I barely ever get to watch anything for fun. Unless
That's
it's a
no good.
TV show. Unless it's a TV show and the catfish. I was I was just going down that thing when I didn't have anything else to do. I was just like, put on catfish. Now I'm done with that, so I'm kind of mad.
No,
Yeah, there's no new episodes, so I'm like, "Oh,
no,
yeah, it's so sad. My life is
no.
pathetic."
Uh,
All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll be back in a couple weeks for Mainstream Monday. Also tune in for horror film lovers for First Watch Fridays, horror film reviews, and ton of other shit. So thank you guys for checking this out, and we will talk to you
Bye.
later. Bye.